Welcome back to Ingenious Crimes, where we explore the mysteries, debates, and fascinating layers of crime. Have you ever wondered how an innocent person could admit to something they didn't do? How could someone confess to a crime they didn't commit, sometimes in excruciating detail, and end up behind bars for years? Today, we're diving into one of the most baffling and disturbing psychological phenomena in the criminal justice world: false confessions. Before we begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into the world of crime and criminal behavior. Let's get into it. What is a false confession? Simply put, it's when someone admits to committing a crime they didn't actually do. In many cases, these people give detailed accounts of the crime, sometimes even describing things only the perpetrator would know. But how is this possible? False confessions are more common than you might think. According to the Innocence Project, around 25% of wrongful convictions overturned by DNA evidence involved false confessions. That's a staggering number when you consider that each of these confessions led to someone's life being torn apart, often for years, if not decades. Why do people confess to crimes they didn't commit? False confessions can be triggered by a range of factors, but three key reasons stand out: coercive interrogation techniques, psychological pressure, and the vulnerability of the suspect. Coercive interrogation technique. First, let's talk about interrogation techniques. Police officers are trained in methods designed to get a confession, which can sometimes turn coercive. One commonly used method is the read technique. This method relies on psychological pressure, starting with an accusation, and then presenting the suspect with evidence, whether it's real or fabricated. The interrogator often tells the suspect they already know they're guilty and pushes for a confession. As hours pass, suspects may start to feel trapped. Fatigue, hunger, and the relentless pressure to confess can lead them to break down. Some even begin to believe that admitting to the crime is the only way out of the interrogation room. They may start thinking, if I just say what they want, this nightmare will be over. Psychological pressure. Next, there's psychological pressure. Interrogations can last for hours, sometimes even days. The longer they go, the more mentally exhausting they become for the suspect. Research has shown that people can be influenced into believing things that aren't true, especially when they're stressed, isolated, and deprived of basic needs like sleep or food. When your body and mind are pushed to the limit, your decision-making abilities can deteriorate. In this vulnerable state, the idea of confessing, even falsely, can seem like a way to escape the overwhelming stress. Vulnerability of the suspect. Certain groups of people are more prone to giving false confessions. Minors, for instance, are especially susceptible because they don't fully understand the long-term consequences of confessing to a crime. They may believe they'll be released if they just say what the police want to hear. People with cognitive impairments or mental illnesses are also highly vulnerable. They may not comprehend the gravity of the situation, or they may be more easily led into believing that confessing will bring an end to their suffering. Famous cases of false confessions. The Central Park Five. One of the most famous examples is the Central Park Five case from 1989. 5 teenagers were wrongfully convicted for the brutal attack and rape of a jogger in Central Park. All 5 confessed after hours of aggressive interrogations, even though none of their DNA matched the crime scene. Years later, the true attacker came forward, and the Central Park Five were exonerated. In 2019, Netflix released a gripping miniseries called When They See Us about this case. If you decide to watch it, we promise there will be tears. The Brendan Dassey case. Another heartbreaking example is Brendan Dassey, featured in the documentary series Making a Murderer. Dassey, a teenager with a low IQ, confessed to being involved in the murder of Teresa Halbach after a highly suggestive and coercive interrogation. His confession played a major role in his conviction, despite glaring inconsistencies and lack of physical evidence. How can we prevent false confessions? Now that we understand the psychology behind false confessions, the question is, how can we prevent them? One solution is the mandatory recording of all interrogations. In many places, police departments are now required to record the entire process, which helps prevent coercive tactics and allows courts to review the circumstances under which confessions were made. Another approach is ensuring that vulnerable suspects, like minors or those with cognitive impairments, have legal representation during interrogations. This can prevent manipulation and ensure their rights are protected. Why it matters. The consequences of false confessions are devastating. Not only do innocent people lose years of their lives, but the real perpetrators remain free to commit more crimes. It's a failure of justice on every level. As we've seen, false confessions aren't just a tragic anomaly. They're a symptom of a flawed system. By understanding the psychology behind them, we can push for changes to prevent more innocent lives from being destroyed. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of crime. And let us know in the comments, what case of false confession has shocked you the most? Until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and stay safe. Oh, and remember, a good detective never puts down their magnifying glass. See you at the next video.